Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are diving straight into an absolutely beautiful chapter of Islamic history. We're going to explore the early life and the divinely inspired marriage of Aisha Siddiqa, may Allah be pleased with her, all set against the incredibly intense backdrop of early Makkah. Now, if you love highly detailed animated Quranic tales, this explainer is completely tailor-made for you. We'll be walking through her childhood, a literal heavenly dream, and a blessed union that would absolutely shape the course of history. So let's just jump right in. Before we even get into the earthly events, we really need to ask a much deeper question. How was this incredible marriage actually destined in the spiritual realm long before it ever took place? When we usually look at history, we focus on dates, times, political alliances, that kind of thing. But to truly grasp this specific union, we actually have to look up. We have to understand that this arrangement was made in the heavens before it ever even manifested in the harsh desert reality of Mecca. So, to really understand where this all started, let's set the scene. I want you to imagine the city of Makkah during its most precarious, difficult era. Clouds of oppression and persecution were just heavily gathered over the early Muslims. But right in the middle of all that darkness, there was this incredible sanctuary, the noble household of Hazrat Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him. This house was the absolute symbol of truth, trustworthiness, and immense sacrifice. And it was right within these walls, just a few years prior to the events we're talking about, that a child was born whose knowledge would eventually illuminate the entire Muslim ummah. Now, her foundational roots were just incredibly deep. Historically speaking, her lineage actually meets the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, at the 4th generation. That is a profound familial tie right there. But even more remarkably, unlike so many others who had to unlearn all those pre-Islamic traditions, Aisha Siddiqa was raised entirely in a pure early Islamic environment. Literally from the moment she opened her eyes, her father's unwavering faith and the completely pure atmosphere of their home were laying down the bedrock of her character. Okay, let's transition to her childhood and early brilliance. On the surface, her early years were incredibly innocent. She played with dolls with her friends, and historical narrations even mention her playing with wooden toys, specifically horses with wings. I just love that beautifully humanizing detail. But right alongside that innocent play, there was an incredibly active, brilliant mind that was absorbing all the Islamic teachings around her. Her natural intelligence was just remarkable, and her memory, razor sharp. These early traits were clear signs, really foreshadowing how she would soon become one of the most prolific scholars of the entire Ummah. Moving chronologically, we now reach the heavenly dream. This is where the earthly friendship between these two noble families gets elevated by a profound divine intervention. Because what's absolutely crucial to understand here is that this marriage was not merely a worldly decision. It wasn't just two best friends deciding, hey, let's merge our families. No. It was a sacred destiny decided in the heavens. The entire foundation of this union was a divine decree. And we know this for sure because of an incredible event experienced by the Prophet, peace be upon him, himself. Let's just take a moment of reverence for this. This is directly from Sahih al-Bukhari, narrated by Aisha Siddiqa herself. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told her, "You were shown to me twice in a dream." He describes an angel bringing her wrapped in a piece of fine silk. The angel explicitly says, "This is your wife, so uncover her face." And when he did, it was her. Notice the Prophet's profound submission to the divine will at the end of that quote. He said, if this is from Allah, he will bring it about. This dream was the ultimate testimony that this relationship was literally mapped out by the creator of the universe. With the divine will made absolutely clear, let's look at the proposal and the nikah. The timing here is just so important. Following the passing of Hazrat Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, the household of the Prophet, peace be upon him, really needed support. During this incredibly difficult phase of preaching the religion, there was a major need for a dignified, intellectual connection. Recognizing this exact need, an honorable companion named Hawla bint Hakim stepped up. She traveled to the house of Hazrat Abu Bakr to present the Prophet's proposal, asking if he knew what great goodness Allah had in store for their families. Well, when Hazrat Abu Bakr heard the proposal, his immediate reaction was this amazing mix of genuine astonishment, love, and honestly, a little confusion. He asked a deeply sincere question. Wait, can we marry if we are brothers? You really have to remember the intense loyalty and brotherhood these two men shared. In Abu Bakr's mind, they were so close that he genuinely questioned the cultural and customary permissibility of this marriage. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, beautifully resolved Abu Bakr's concern by clarifying a really vital distinction. He explained that while literal, physical blood lineage prohibits marriage, their bond, as incredibly deep as it was an Islamic religious brotherhood. Because they were brothers in faith and not in blood, the union was entirely pure, legitimate, and permissible. And that completely put Abu Bakr's heart at ease. So how did this all unfold? Well, it starts with a divine dream in Makkah. Then, about 2 to 3 years before the Great Migration, the Hijra, a very simple, modest nikah, or marriage contract, took place right there in Makkah. But crucially, the actual relocation of Aisha to the Prophet's household, which is known as the Riksadi, was a pending milestone. That actually wouldn't happen until after they had successfully migrated to Medina. Which brings us to our final chapter, looking towards the Hijra. So, the marriage contract was complete, forever binding these two noble families together in a divinely ordained union. But remember, they were still in Makkah, and the oppression from the Quraysh was reaching an unbearable boiling point. The safety of the early Muslims was severely compromised. This chapter of Makkah was rapidly drawing to a close. They couldn't complete the physical move of families just yet, because they now had to look towards a completely new horizon. And that perfectly sets the stage for where we leave off today. The absolute greatest migration in history was looming, and the map of the world was literally about to be changed forever. So I'm going to leave you with this massive historical cliffhanger to ponder. How did that historic journey to Medina actually begin under such perilous, dangerous conditions? And how did the Prophet, peace be upon him, finally depart Makkah? Think about the immense courage and divine protection required for that next monumental step. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking knowledge, and I'll catch you in the next one.